The door of stillness. Imagine for a moment that you are standing before a nameless door, one you have walked past hundreds of times without ever stopping. Today, something makes you pause. It is not a call, not an invitation, but the complete silence of the space around you. Everything seems to be holding its breath, waiting for you to notice something. This door does not lead to a street, nor open into a room. It opens into you. For years you have lived beside countless such thresholds without knowing it, missing the moments of awakening simply because you were too hurried to pass by. Beyond the door lies no distant place. It is the inner sanctuary where every event of your life reappears as energy and idea. When you step inside, there is no incense, no chanting. Only your breath becomes steadier, and your heart begins to open. This space is not built of brick or wood, but formed by awareness, faith, and stillness. You do not enter to escape the world, but to meet yourself in your purest state. Here the sounds of the outer world fade, leaving only the gentle rhythm of heartbeat and breath. You begin to feel each layer of yourself dissolve, the layer of fear, the layer of doubt, the layer of noise from all the roles you have played. They fall away like fine dust washed clean by light. Then you realize that the door does not open outward but inward. And in that moment you understand that heaven has never been a distant realm, but the state of mind illuminated by awareness. You pause for a while, feeling both peace and wonder. Your mind whispers, "Why do I see this door only today?" The answer rises from somewhere beyond words, because today you are quiet enough to see. Each of us has doors like this, unmarked and unadorned, waiting for the moment we fall silent long enough to notice them. Imagine your breath becoming light, flowing through every cell, warming the cold corners of memory. In that stillness, you begin to sense what Emmet Fox called the living architecture of mind, the vibrant structure of consciousness. Each thought, emotion, and memory is a stone, a beam, a pillar in the inner temple you have built yourself. The door you open does not lead to something new, but returns you to your original home, where all the answers have always been. If you are hearing these words, know this: you do not need to understand everything right now. Simply know that you are standing before another threshold, and the stillness you feel is the first invitation. It is no coincidence that you pause today. It is no coincidence that these words have reached your ears. It is the moment when the soul chooses to unlock itself, so the dialogue between you and your deepest self can begin. Let the stillness sink in. Do not rush. Do not search for meaning. Simply feel the gentle warmth rising in your chest, and know that you have already crossed through. The Bible, as the architecture of the mind, in that still space you begin to recognize the familiar lines once heard in church or read in books, now resonating differently. They are no longer stories of people from the past, but whispers from the deepest part of you. Emmet Fox once said that the Bible, when seen through the lens of spirit, is not a dusty archive of moral codes, but the living architecture of the mind. Every chapter, symbol, and image is a detailed blueprint of the inner world. Imagine reading the Bible not as a collection of ancient tales, but as an engineer studying your own being. When it speaks of the Garden of Eden, it is not a distant place, but the pure consciousness before thought divided. When it speaks of the Red Sea, it is the turbulent stream of emotion the mind must cross to reach freedom. When it speaks of enemies, they are not other people, but the fears within you waiting to be transformed into strength. Each metaphor is a map of energy. The mountain represents higher awareness, where you see life with clarity. The desert is the dry stage of spirit, where outer lack gives birth to inner power. The river is the flow of transformation, and each crossing reshapes your identity. If you read with a closed heart, you see history. But if you read with an open heart, you see the universe of spirit revealed in every line. When Emmet Fox taught, he often said, "Do not look for God in finished stories. Look for him in the way you live each day. The Bible lives only when you let it reflect your own life. Every character is a state of consciousness. Every action is a choice within you. Every prayer is an echo from the highest part of the soul." When you understand this, the Bible stops being a rule book and becomes a guide to living by the laws of the mind. You may ask, how can one tell what is symbol and what is fact? The answer is to read with feeling. When a passage stirs you, when a line touches something within that you cannot fully name. That is where the symbol awakens. The Bible does not ask for blind belief, it asks for listening. When your mind is still, you begin to hear the voice within each image, a voice without words, a knowing that speaks directly. Think back to the last time you read a passage from the Bible or any sacred text. Did you ever feel it was speaking about you, about something you were going through? Perhaps you saw yourself in the fear of Job, in the faith of Mary, or in the battle of David and Goliath, where the small stone of awareness defeats the giant of old habit. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, if every page of the Bible is a mirror of the mind, what is it showing me today? The question does not need an answer yet. It only needs to rest in your heart like a seed. One day, in a simple moment, while washing dishes, walking down a street, or watching light slip through a window, you may hear within a familiar yet new phrase, "Listen, for the kingdom of God is within you." Then you will know that you no longer read the Bible with the eyes of the flesh, but with the vision of the soul. Every page becomes a mirror, every word a breath, and every lesson a step leading you back to your own source of light. And now I want to ask you, do you remember the last time you read a verse of the Bible as if it were the story of your own life? If you have ever felt that way, share it, because your presence in this moment is the proof that the Bible is still alive, still speaking, and still being written within every soul that listens. Personal sovereignty before the law. When you understand that the Bible is the architecture of the mind, a truth begins to emerge. The spiritual law is not outside of you. It is not the command of a distant power, but the natural mechanism of life itself. Emmet Fox called it the law, the divine principle, unchanging, fair, and impartial like gravity. No one can beg for its favor, and no one can escape it. The law does not judge or reward or punish. It simply reflects with precision what you hold within. If you plant the seed of fear in your mind, you will harvest anxiety. If you plant trust, you will harvest peace. The law does not divide the good from the bad, it only receives and returns. That is why Fox always emphasized, responsibility is yours. But that is not a burden. It is the greatest freedom ever given to humankind. Because if you are the one who plants, you are also the one who can plant differently. In the light of the law, what once seemed random begins to reveal order. You realize that every result in your life is a faithful mirror of your present state of mind. There are no enemies outside, no hand of fate, only you and the patterns of thought you have chosen to believe. And when you accept this, you become the master of your life, not because you control everything, but because you understand how things are created. Remember, the law does not punish you for being wrong. It simply returns the corresponding result. Just as water does not get angry at the one who falls into it, it only makes them wet. The law is the same. It is precision, not punishment. When outcomes do not match your desires, do not pray for miracles outside. Adjust your thoughts within. Every time you change a mental pattern, the world responds like a lake shifting the reflection of clouds when the wind touches it. Someone may ask, then where are blessings and miracles? Fox answered that miracles are the natural results of understanding the law. When you live by principle, what others call magic is simply the obvious effect. Just as when you understand electricity, you can light a lamp any time without needing enchantment. The only difference between those who struggle and those who awaken lies in their attitude toward the law. Those who do not understand it fear it. Those who do trust it, because they know the law has always worked for them, never against them. Everything that comes is here to help you see, adjust, and walk with greater clarity. This is also when you must face the hardest question. Are you willing to accept that everything happening in your life is the result of causes you yourself have set in motion? That question is not meant for blame, but for empowerment. Because if you are the source, you are also the way out. You no longer need a savior outside. You are saved the moment you understand that the law is waiting to serve you. From the moment you know this, every experience, pleasant or difficult, becomes an opportunity for realization. When you meet adversity, whisper to yourself, what is this reflecting in me? When joy arrives, be grateful and say, I am witnessing the image of a healthy belief within. And so you learn to communicate with the law as you would with the most patient teacher in the universe. The law does not ask for belief, it only asks for practice. Each time you hold a kind thought longer than a fearful one, you have adjusted your field of energy. Each time you forgive instead of blaming, you have rewritten the path of cause and effect. Each time you remember truth instead of reacting by habit, you free yourself from the loop. If as you listen now you feel something moving softly within, as if another door has just opened, that is the law responding. It is confirming that you have begun to step into mastery. And I invite you in this very moment to make a small commitment to yourself. Write down or whisper, "I am willing to change," or simply type the number 1 as a silent symbol sent to the universe that you have reclaimed your power. For from this moment on, you are no longer governed by the law, you are in harmony with it. And your life from here begins to reflect that truth. Symbols as the working language of the subconscious. When you have accepted that spiritual law operates in every aspect of life, you begin to see the world with new eyes. Everything suddenly carries a deeper meaning. A rainstorm is no longer just weather, it is a baptism for a mind that has grown dry. A mountain is not only rock, it is the image of the desire to rise above old vision. A closed door is not rejection, it is an invitation to turn inward. Emmet Fox called this the language of the subconscious, a language that does not speak in words, but in images, symbols, and metaphors. The subconscious does not communicate with sentences, it speaks through pictures. And the Bible, like all of life itself, is a sacred text written in that language. When you learn to read symbols, you truly learn how to speak with the deepest part of yourself. Look again at the familiar images in the Bible. The mountain, as Fox explained, represents a higher state of awareness, the place where you rise above noise and see the whole. Each time you climb, you are not ascending stone, but moving through layers of emotion and limitation. The desert is the dry season of the spirit, when all outer support seems gone and only bare faith remains. The river is the flow of thought, and each crossing is a passage from ego to awareness. The city is the collection of ideas, and its walls are the limiting beliefs you have built around yourself. When you see an image, do not ask if it is real, ask what it symbolizes within you. Imagine reading the Bible not with an analyzing mind, but with the eye of an artist gazing at a sacred painting. You will see each detail begin to glow. The subconscious understands such images instantly, the way a child recognizes its mother's face in a crowd. And the most beautiful truth is that these symbols do not exist only in Scripture. They appear everywhere around you. A dream, a chance encounter, a sentence someone says without meaning to, all can be symbols trying to tell you something. Life speaks to you constantly through metaphor, but you can only hear it when your mind is quiet enough to listen. Fox once said, "Remove the proper names from the Bible and read it as if it were speaking about you. When you do, you will be surprised." The king within you is the unified will. The enemy within you is the entrenched fear. And the beggar by the roadside is the part of your mind that longs for light. Every character on the page is an aspect of yourself speaking out. When seen this way, the Bible becomes a vast mirror reflecting the entire spiritual journey. There is no one outside you, no past or future. Only you and the unfolding process of awakening told through endless images. Now think about your own life today. Every event, every person, every scene is a symbol sent to help you understand something about yourself. Someone who angers you may be reflecting an unhealed wound. A missed opportunity may be reminding you that you still doubt your own ability. A long silence may be teaching you to hear the voice within. Symbols do not come to frighten you, but to help you understand. The question is whether you can read their language. The more you understand symbols, the more you understand the law. For symbols are the grammar of spiritual law, and the subconscious is its faithful translator. It simply follows the images you send it each day, without question or resistance. So observe the symbols at work in your life today. Ask yourself, what mountain am I climbing? What river must I cross? Who is the king and who is the beggar in my mind? These questions will open the second door of this journey, the door of understanding. And now I want to ask you, have you noticed any symbol appearing in your life lately? perhaps a dream that repeats, an image that keeps returning, or a feeling waiting for you to name it. Pause for a moment, thank that symbol, and know that life is speaking to you in the language of the soul. The law of mental equivalence: when you understand that every symbol is a mirror, you begin to see an unshakable truth: the outer always corresponds to the inner. This is what Emmet Fox called the law of mental equivalence. It states that every circumstance, whether simple or complex, is an exact replica of the mental patterns you hold within. Imagine your mind as an architectural workshop. Each thought is a line, each emotion a color, each belief a material. When these elements combine over time, they form an invisible blueprint called the mental equivalent, the inner image of your life. And the outer world, like a faithful builder, simply constructs according to that design without bias or error. If within you there is confusion, conflict, or fear, the house outside will also show cracks, dimness, and unrest. If within you there is order, clarity, and gratitude, your outer life will reflect stability, calm, and fulfillment. There is no luck here, only precision. The law operates not according to prayer or pleading, but according to the frequency of awareness you sustain most often. Many people believe that a few minutes of positive thinking in the morning are enough to change their life. But Fox pointed out that the law does not respond to brief flashes of positivity. It responds to the dominant mental climate within you. In other words, the random worries and repeating doubts of your day carry more weight than the bright affirmations you say for 5 minutes. The law does not listen to your words. It reads the energy of your habits. Your real work, therefore, is not to control outer conditions, but to restructure the inner blueprint. When you want to change a wall, you do not paint over it. You correct the drawing. When you want to change the shape of a house, you do not rearrange the furniture. You adjust the frame. Everything outside is only the expression of what is drawn inside. You may ask, what if I have drawn it wrong? The answer is, stop feeding energy to the old image. Every time you retell your old story with emotion, you deepen that pattern. Every time you repeat the phrase, I am not enough, you sign the contract for that very reality. The law only executes. It does not know whether you are complaining or describing. It simply receives the signal and makes it form. The first step is to be honest with yourself. Look at your current life as a printed copy of your mind. Do not blame or fear it. Simply observe, what design created this? You might discover that you have long believed people do not trust you, so life keeps sending you doubters. You might see that you believe love must come with pain, so every relationship mirrors that wound. Seeing this is not for self-judgment, but to reclaim the tool of creation in your hands. Once you see, you begin to redraw, not with empty affirmations, but with emotion, vision, and aligned action. Imagine the new version of yourself, already living what you desire. Feel, speak, and breathe from that frequency. The subconscious does not distinguish between real and imagined. It only obeys the emotional tone. When your feeling matches the new image, the law begins translating it into form. Fox often said, do not pray to have, pray as if you already have. That is the difference between desire and faith. Desire arises from lack, while faith radiates from fullness. When you live in the atmosphere of trust, matching conditions come naturally, drawn as metal to magnet. Now you can look at your life as at a building under construction. Each wall is a thought habit, each window a belief, each room an aspect of your experience. You cannot rebuild it overnight, but you can start replacing misplaced bricks with new ones. Every small correction within will soon appear without. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, if life is the faithful mirror of the mind, what picture am I painting today? Am I unconsciously repeating an old image, or am I patiently designing a new pattern for my soul? The answer is not in the heavens. It lies in the feeling you sustain the longest and the thought you repeat the most. That is where the law is working, silently, precisely, without favoritism. So hold your thoughts as a craftsman holds the final design. Do not rush, do not fear. Every line you refine today is a change in the foundation of tomorrow's life. Revising the blueprint. Now that you understand life is the result of an invisible design in the mind, The next task is to revise that blueprint, not through force, but through clarity, not through magic, but through principle. Each of us is living inside a spiritual structure drawn by our own hands, whether we are aware of it or not. Imagine yourself as an architect walking into your own drafting room. On the table lie hundreds of overlapping sketches, old beliefs, fears, unfinished dreams, words from others you once mistook for truth. Together they shape the house you now live in. To change it, you do not need to destroy everything. You simply choose the correct plan. Emmet Fox once said, "You cannot build a palace with the blueprint of a hut. If the image of limitation still lives in your mind, then no matter how hard you work, your results will stay confined by that design. The old plan will always pull you back to its familiar shape. The first step of revision, therefore, is honest observation. Look at your current life, not to complain, but to read the map. What original idea produced this scene? Once you see the old lines, gently erase them, but not with fear. You do not need to fight the old image, you only need to stop feeding it energy. Whenever a negative memory rises, do not argue with it. Simply say, "I no longer need this." Then return to the new design, the picture you choose. Your new blueprint must be clear. Saying "I want happiness" is too vague, a blurred sketch. Describe happiness as you truly see it. The state of your mind, the color of the light, the feeling in your body, the tone of your inner voice. Draw it with all your senses. The subconscious needs details to build from. If you say, "I want peace," but cannot imagine what peace looks like, it has no plan to work with. After your new sketch is complete, do not force it into form. Do not check impatiently. A gardener does not dig up a seed each morning to see if it has sprouted. He waters, keeps the soil warm, and trusts the cycle. So must you. Spend your time tending the ground, which means maintaining the inner climate that matches your new design. Your words, actions, and choices each day must align with it. If you are designing a house of abundance but keep speaking of lack, you are pouring new cement on an old foundation. Revising the blueprint is not only a mental exercise, but the art of intentional living. Each day, you decide again what to say, what to believe, what to allow to remain in your mind. Every small choice is a new line on the plan. At first, you may repeat the old images, fall back into old habits. Do not worry. Simply return, adjust, and continue, like a sculptor chiseling stone, one gentle strike at a time until the temple's form appears. And something miraculous will happen when you persist. At first, the change is quiet, a lighter feeling, a calmer conversation, a door opening at the right moment. Then slowly, the structure of your life reshapes itself. New people, opportunities, and resources begin to appear, as if the universe has read the blueprint you have just revised. This is not magic, but the precision of law. When you adjust the inner mold, the outer form naturally realigns. When you stop blaming and start designing, you move from the position of victim to that of creator. From this point, everything in your life becomes material, and every challenge becomes a tool to refine the plan. Before we end this part, pause for a moment. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what image am I holding in my mind that I no longer wish to build? Then write it down, or simply say silently, "I thank the old image and now I choose a new one." In that instant, you have placed the first stone of your new home. For life never punishes you. It simply follows the blueprint you hand to it. And today you can begin to draw again, clearly, calmly, and full of light. The power of I am. When the new blueprint has been drawn, there is one decisive element that determines whether it becomes reality, the language you use to name yourself. The two short words "I am" are the command that activates the entire mental system. Emmet Fox called "I am" the declaration of creative power. It is the key phrase that connects human consciousness with the divine principle, the bridge between the finite and the infinite source. Each time you say "I am," you are giving an order to your subconscious, not through words alone, but through the vibration of identification. When you say, "I am tired," your body and mind work together to prove it true. When you say, I am peaceful, your whole nervous system begins to reorganize itself toward calm. I am does not care whether you are joking or serious, it simply receives the command and carries it out. Fox once warned, do not say, I am unconsciously, because every time you say, I am unlucky, I am not enough, I am broken, you are drawing a wrong line in your blueprint. The universe does not understand humor, it understands conviction. And when you repeat something enough, that image becomes identity. From today, begin to use I am with intention. Do not use it to describe temporary feelings. Use it to affirm eternal nature. When you are tired, instead of saying I am exhausted, say I am restoring. When you are lost, instead of saying I do not know what to do, say I am being guided to what is right. These small declarations do more than lift your mood. They realign your vibration. I am is not only a phrase, it is a movement, a posture, a gaze, the way you walk, the way you face others, the way you respond. All express I am. When you bow your head in fear, your body declares I am small. When you stand upright in gratitude, you declare I am an instrument of light. Use your body to speak your right I am. You do not need to repeat complicated affirmations. Choose a few core I am statements that reflect the qualities you wish to grow. I am peace in motion. Asterisk, I am clarity unfolding. Asterisk, I am strength, guided by love. Asterisk, I am light remembering itself. When you say them, do not try to believe, feel. Recall the memory or sensation of when you once lived that truth. When emotion unites with words, the subconscious receives the command and begins to rearrange reality. One principle Fox emphasized is that I am does not work in the future. You cannot say, I will be strong and expect it to act. Will is delay, am is now. The law only responds to the absolute present. So when you declare I am, let it live in the very moment you speak. From now on, whenever a negative thought appears, remember you can rewrite your spiritual contract instantly. If your mind says I am stuck, add I am realigning. If you hear yourself say I am weak, add I am learning strength. Every small correction is a shift in command. Know that you are not bound by any old I am. They are only temporary signatures on a contract you can revise any time. Each time you change a statement, the current of energy changes direction. Even if results are not immediate, a new chain of cause has begun, and that is all that is needed to alter the course. So I invite you, if you are hearing these words, to make your first mark of transformation. Comment, I am willing to change, or simply type the number 1. It is not only a signal to me, but a sacred commitment to your soul that you have reclaimed your creative power. From the moment you say, I am, the universe begins to respond. It does not ask when, it only asks who you are now. And when you answer with stillness, with faith, with gratitude, everything in your life starts to align to mirror that truth. For I am is not just 2 words. It is the main current connecting you with the divine source. Use it wisely, because each time you say I am, you are writing a new verse in the Bible of your own mind. Spiritual cause and effect and the clean life. From the words I am, you now hold the key of creation. But for that light to move in the right direction, it needs a pure ground to flow through, and that is the clean life. Emmet Fox called it living clean, living in harmony between inner and outer, between what you believe and what you do. When purity is lost, creative energy becomes distorted. When you live by principle, the law of cause and effect becomes your most loyal friend. The principle of spiritual cause and effect is simple. Every cause you plant in thought, emotion, or action produces a corresponding result. Not sooner or later, not right or wrong, but exact. There are no exceptions and no secrets. Each thought is a seed. Each word is a drop of water. Each action is a stroke of the hoe in the soil of your own life. What you sow, you reap, not because someone is watching and judging, but because that is how life functions. Yet Fox wanted us to remember, spiritual cause and effect does not operate only in outer deeds, but within the structure of inner thought. You can perform a right action with a wrong motive, and the result will still come out crooked. A gentle sentence filled with hidden judgment leaves a heavy echo, but a small act done in genuine love can open many doors. So living clean means keeping the causes you set in motion pure, free from hidden agenda, fear, or calculation. When you live clean, the law of cause and effect becomes a creative tool rather than a chain. Everything you do becomes a seed of light. Every meeting, even brief, becomes a chance to plant goodness. But when you feed resentment, competition, or self-deception, you sow distorted seeds, and sooner or later they surface as conflict, loss, or subtle unease. Not punishment, but feedback. To live clean, Fox taught a simple habit: to keep your own spiritual balance sheet. When you know you have done wrong, correct it at once. Do not let small scratches grow into fractures. Apologize, give thanks, make it right, or stay silent and change your behavior. Each adjustment wipes away the dust that blocks the light. Like a gardener trimming withered leaves so the flowers stay alive, you must prune unhelpful habits before they choke the flow of life. Living clean also means stopping the act of planting contradictions. You cannot sow love while secretly wishing others to fail. You cannot pray for peace while nurturing anger. Each contradiction sends mixed instructions to the law and produces tangled results. If you long for peace, let thought, word, and deed all move toward peace. When your inner system aligns as one, the law flows smoothly like a river unhindered by stones. There is another lesson, deeper still. Do not confuse clean with perfect. Living clean does not mean never erring. It means returning quickly when you do. You may feel anger, but do not feed it. You may feel sadness, but do not dwell in it. You may make mistakes, but do not justify them. Each return is a purification, and repeated purification creates clarity of mind. You will find that when you live with conscious cause and effect, you begin to trust the order of life. You no longer fear outcomes because you know you are planting right causes. You do not need to force results because you understand that every good seed ripens in its own season. You simply care for the garden within. Now pause for a few seconds, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what seeds am I planting in my thoughts today? Am I repeating old seeds of judgment or fear, or am I planting new seeds of trust and compassion? Let this question cleanse you, like water washing dust from stone. For the moment you become aware, you return to your purest state. And if these words have touched you, let me know that you are present by writing in the comments, I choose to plant light. Just that one line is enough, for it is the signal that begins a new circle of cause and effect, the circle of awareness, wisdom, and purity, scientific prayer, and the golden key. When your mind has been cleansed by honesty and your understanding of cause and effect becomes clear, you begin to see that prayer is no longer an act of begging. It is the art of directing attention. Emmet Fox called it scientific prayer, a method that operates by law, not by blind emotion. In traditional religion, people pray hoping for an external power to intervene. But in Fox's understanding, prayer is the act of redirecting energy. You do not persuade God to change the world, you simply change your own vibration to match the principle of life. When you change the way you see, what you see changes. That is prayer. Fox expressed this through his famous practice called the golden key. The method is simple yet powerful enough to reshape your entire life. When you face a problem, whether it is fear, illness, financial stress, or conflict, stop thinking about the problem. Think of God instead. Not God as a statue or distant being, but as the principle of order, love, and life. It sounds simple, but in that simplicity lies the secret. Every time you think of the problem, you feed it energy. When you think of the principle, you feed energy to the solution. Problem and principle cannot coexist in the mind at the same time. One grows while the other fades. So each time fear arises, turn the key, stop thinking of fear, and think of truth. For example, if you worry about money, instead of repeating, I do not have enough, think, in the universe of divine order, there is no lack. Or when you worry about health, Instead of staring at symptoms, think, in the principle of life, there is no disorder. You do not have to force belief. Simply repeat the truth until your feeling shifts. When emotion changes direction, fear loses power and light begins to flow. Fox said, the golden key is not to beg for a miracle, but to release the miracle that already exists. When you keep your mind on truth, you become a channel for that truth to express itself in the world. Just as a compass needle naturally points north, your mind, once aligned, will automatically turn toward divine order. Many beginners ask, how long should I practice? Fox answered, as long as it takes until you feel lighter. Sometimes a few minutes, sometimes a few days. It is not repetition that brings results, but the shift in focus. When your attention is truly placed on principle, the problem dissolves like mist in sunlight. Remember, the golden key does not deny reality. It does not ask you to ignore difficulty. It only teaches you to stop feeding the problem with fear. You cannot extinguish fire by adding oil. Likewise, you cannot solve worry by continuing to think about it. When you turn your mind toward the principle of peace, you open space for higher energy to enter and reorganize the pattern. Some call this a miracle, but Fox simply smiled. He said, it is not a miracle, it is the law used correctly, and you can use that law today. Now take a moment and think of something that has been weighing on you, maybe your health, your work, or a relationship. Breathe softly and say within, I release this to the order of truth. Then keep your attention there, in the light of principle, for a few seconds. When you do this, you are practicing the golden key. And if you feel your heart growing calm, know that the law is already at work. You have turned the key in the right direction. Before we move on, I invite you to reflect. What situation will you use the golden key for today? Write it down. Just one line. I am giving light to, followed by your situation. Do it not for me, but as a record for your own soul, a sign that you have begun the journey of release through conscious attention. For when you turn the golden key, the door of faith opens, and beyond it you will rediscover what you have always sought, the stillness of the soul in the midst of all things. Forgiveness as the release of creative energy. After you learn to turn the golden key, directing your mind toward principle instead of problem, you begin to notice another kind of energy still holding you back, the energy of resentment. Emmet Fox called forgiveness the most powerful act of creative release, because as long as you keep the shadow of anger within, the light of your spirit cannot flow freely. Forgiveness, in Fox's understanding, is not a moral act to appear noble. It is a technical method to free the mind. When you keep the image of someone who hurt you, you give that image part of your creative energy. Each time you recall it, you recharge the past, and that current cannot nourish the future at the same time. Forgiveness, therefore, is not forgetting. It is unplugging the energy cord from an old memory. Fox said, holding resentment is like grasping a burning coal, intending to throw it at someone else. You are the one burned first. When you are angry, your body tightens, your breath shortens, and creative energy contracts. You think you are punishing another, but in truth, you are locking your own door. Forgiveness is the act of unlocking it. But how do you truly forgive? Not by force or pretending, but by understanding. Look at the one who caused your pain as a symbol. They are playing a role to reveal a dark corner in you, a part you have refused to face. Perhaps they mirror your fear of betrayal, your need for recognition, or the helplessness you once buried. When you see that, anger begins to fade, because you realize they did not act to you, but with you, in a shared lesson. From here, you can practice a simple method. When an old memory rises, do not resist or chase it away. Take a deep breath and say softly, I release you and I release myself. These words are the blade of light cutting the invisible thread between you and them. You do not need them to change or to apologize. Your task is only to stop feeding the link. Once the energy is withdrawn, the bond dissolves on its own. Fox also spoke of a more subtle form of forgiveness, forgiving yourself. Many can release others, but cannot release their own guilt. They carry the weight of what if for years, and that weight keeps them from moving forward. Forgiving yourself is not excusing, it is recognizing that you have learned. You are no longer the one who made the mistake, you are the one awakened by it. When you see that, the old fault becomes fuel for wisdom. Then something beautiful happens. When you truly forgive, the energy once trapped in old memories returns to serve you. Creative inspiration rises, intuition strengthens, the body feels lighter. Life begins to flow again like a stream cleared of stones. Forgiveness not only heals the heart, it increases the capacity of the soul. If you are hearing these words, perhaps a face has appeared in your mind, someone you still hold on to. Take it as an invitation, not coincidence. When a memory surfaces in the light of awareness, it is ready to be released. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and in silence say within, I thank you, I learned from you, and now I let you go. Then feel the gentle wave move through your chest. Do not force it, let the breath do the rest. You cannot step into the next chapter of your life while clutching the old page. Forgiveness is the turning of that page. And on the new one, you can write anything: peace, creativity, freedom. Before we move on, ask yourself, is there someone you need to forgive, or from whom you need forgiveness? If there is, write a single, simple line: I choose freedom. Because forgiveness does not change the past, it changes the one who carries it. And that one is you. Disciplined imagination and enduring faith. After forgiveness, you may feel a quiet emptiness inside. It is not loss, but the open space for new creation. The energy once trapped in anger now returns to you, ready to become the light of your next inner design. And here, Emmet Fox introduces the two most powerful instruments of spiritual creation: disciplined imagination and enduring faith. Fox said, imagination provides the picture, faith holds it steady. Imagination paints the vision, faith keeps it from fading. Most people imagine, but without discipline. They let the mind wander among pictures of failure, loss, and fear, and then wonder why their lives are filled with those things. The subconscious does not know real from unreal. It only responds to the emotion that accompanies the image. Whatever you imagine with feeling, you create. Disciplined imagination is not daydreaming, it is the skill of focus. Like an artist painting each stroke with precision, you choose one mental picture and nurture it daily, not with tension, but with the joy of creation. Spend a few minutes each morning. Close your eyes and see clearly the image you wish to live. See it with your inner sight, hear it with your inner ears, feel it with your inner skin. If you want health, imagine your body moving freely, your breath full and easy. If you want prosperity, see yourself giving and receiving value, feel gratitude flowing through each exchange. Once the image is clear, faith keeps it there. Faith is not straining to believe, it is the calm knowing that the law is working. You do not need to see results immediately, you only need to know the seed has sprouted. Fox said, faith is luminous patience, the ability to wait without fear. Imagination and faith work as two wings of one bird. If you imagine without faith, the picture dissolves in the wind of doubt. If you have faith without imagination, your belief has no form to shape. When the two unite, you become a complete creator. To train disciplined imagination, Fox suggested three simple principles. First, do not scatter. Each time you divide your attention among too many desires, energy weakens. Choose one core goal, the one that truly matters, and hold to it until it feels solid in your heart. Second, do not check results too soon. Seeds grow in dark soil. Your task is not to dig them up, but to water them each day with feelings of trust. Third, keep your mental environment clean. Stay away from conversations, images, or influences that lower your energy or make you doubt. It is not isolation, it is alignment with the right frequency. As you practice, you will notice subtle signs, opportunities arriving at the right moment, chance meetings, clearer intuition, words from others that feel like answers. These are the reflections of the universe confirming that your inner image is taking shape in reality. Fox also emphasized that faith is not believing everything will go smoothly. It is knowing that whatever happens, you are still within the law. When obstacles appear, you do not collapse. You simply ask, what part of my picture needs refining? Every challenge comes not to destroy, but to sharpen the clarity of belief. Now pause, take a deep breath, and hold in your mind one picture you wish to bring into life, a scene, a state, a feeling. Keep it in your awareness for 10 seconds. Then smile, knowing the seed is planted. You do not need to know when, only that it is growing. And if you truly wish to affirm this, write down, "I am willing to change," or simply the number 1. It is not a ritual, but a signal to yourself that you have placed your trust in a new image, that you have begun to cooperate with the law through imagination and faith. Because in this universe, what you can fully imagine and wholeheartedly believe, you cannot help but become the training ground. One day, even after you have understood the law, forgiven, and practiced imagination and faith, life will still bring you unexpected moments, a rejection, a setback, a cold silence. That is not failure. It is the training ground. Emmet Fox said that every soul needs its own field of training to prove the law. The training ground is where concepts turn into experience. Without challenge, faith is only theory. Without obstacles, imagination remains an untested dream. When difficulty comes, the old mind reacts at once. Why is this happening? I have tried so hard. But the student of the law knows the right question is not why, but what is being taught here. Every adversity is a test of depth. It asks you, do you truly understand the principle you speak of? If you understand only with the mind, you will feel pain. If you understand with the soul, you will see opportunity. Think of the training ground as the gym of the spirit. You lift weight to grow strength. You endure pressure to mature will. Without resistance, the muscle cannot develop. Without pressure, the soul cannot shine. When life places weight on your shoulders, know that the weight is measured precisely for your evolution. Fox often said, do not see challenge as accusation, see it as invitation. An invitation to go deeper into principle, to move from believing to knowing. When a door closes, you are invited to learn patience. When someone leaves, you are invited to learn release. When a dream delays, you are invited to learn unconditional faith. The way you approach challenge is the higher exercise of mind. Instead of reacting, observe. Ask yourself, is this reaction born of fear or of principle? Instead of blaming, redefine. What quality is this moment training in me? Perhaps patience, clarity, or courage. Instead of praying to escape, pray to see clearly. When you see clearly, you no longer need escape. You transcend. In such seasons, the most important thing is to keep rhythm. Do not stop praying. Do not stop imagining. Do not stop returning to your center. Like a sailor in a storm who never throws away the compass, you must hold your direction. Every time you choose faith over fear, you add strength to your spiritual muscle. And then something remarkable happens. You begin to see patterns. You realize that recurring challenges only come so you can master a skill. Once the lesson is learned, that situation no longer returns. The training ground dissolves when the understanding is complete. One day, looking back, you will smile to yourself and say, I thought this was a storm, but it was a classroom. And you will be grateful, for without that field of practice, you would never have become as strong, clear, and compassionate as you are now. Now, I invite you to pause and ask yourself, what challenge in my life today is my training ground? What quality is it asking me to grow? Let the question echo gently in your heart. If you feel something stir, even slightly, know that your soul has just advanced a step. And I thank you, the one who is listening, for not running away, for learning to stay, to look directly at difficulty without shrinking, to read the lesson of the law in the noise of the world. That is rare courage. Thank you for standing in your own training ground and for practicing not with muscle, but with the light of awareness. The mirror of relationship. When you have walked through many trials and learned to stand steady in the storm, you begin to see that the deepest lessons are not found in solitude, but in relationship. Emmet Fox once said, the people around you are not accidents, they are mirrors, sent to show you what you need to see within yourself. Every person who enters your life is a mirror. Some reflect your beauty, your strength, your kindness. Others reflect the parts still in shadow, the parts that ache and resist. But whether they reflect light or darkness, they all come to help you know yourself. When you look at someone and feel love, you are seeing your own light. When you look and feel anger, you are touching the hidden shadow of your own mind. Fox called this the principle of reflection. He said you never truly meet anyone but yourself. When you understand this deeply, it changes the way you see the world. You stop asking, why did they do this to me? And begin to ask, what is this reaction showing me about myself? Someone who makes you feel disrespected may be revealing the part of you that has not yet learned self-respect. Someone who constantly worries you may be reminding you of your old belief that safety must come from the outside. When you dare to look, every conflict becomes a precious mirror. Then you realize that every relationship is a classroom. Love teaches you to open. Conflict teaches you boundaries. Loss teaches you release. No one is truly against you. They are playing roles that help you remember who you are. Yet Fox also reminded that understanding reflection does not mean you must endure everything. Love and boundaries are two sides of the same coin. Forgiveness does not mean allowing harm to continue. A healthy relationship needs clear structure. When you say no, it is not a lack of love, it is the protection of the space where true love can exist. You also learn to bless without attachment. When someone leaves your life, let them go in light, without bitterness or regret. Each soul has its own orbit, and separation is not an ending, but the next movement of a lesson. Some people come only to help you learn one thing, and then they depart. When you understand this, you feel gratitude instead of sorrow. Fox taught, keep a heart that blesses, not to appear kind, but to keep your energy clean. When you bless another, you do not do it for them, but for yourself. You choose not to carry their weight in your own journey. Look now at a relationship that confuses or troubles you. It may be with a loved one, a friend, or a colleague. Ask quietly, what is this person reflecting to me? Listen without judgment. The answer will come, not in words, but in a feeling as clear as light through still water. You may even find that the person who irritates you most is the one helping you see what most needs healing. When that realization comes, smile, for you have just met your hidden teacher. And over time, as you live with this awareness, you begin to attract brighter mirrors. When you are clear, you meet the clear. When you love, you meet those who love. When you are at peace, you meet others who radiate peace. The law of reflection still works, but now it no longer feels like a lesson, it feels like a reward. Before we close this part, I invite you to do something simple. Think of someone with whom you have tension or misunderstanding, and in your heart say, I wish you peace. I wish myself peace. Then feel that calm expand gently through your chest. Do not force it, do not analyze it. Just know that each time you do, the mirror between you becomes clearer. And I thank you, the one who is listening, for still being here, for learning to love through the shards of the mirror, for having the courage to see yourself in the eyes of another. Thank you, for your presence is proof that the light of awareness is spreading in this world, prosperity as a flow. When you have learned to see life as a mirror, you begin to realize a deeper truth. True prosperity does not come from effort, but from an inner state. Emmet Fox said, prosperity is the natural atmosphere of an ordered mind. In other words, prosperity is the natural climate of a mind in harmony. We often think wealth is accumulation, possession, having more than others. But Fox showed that prosperity is not quantity, it is circulation. Like the water of a river, when it flows, it stays clear. When it stops, it grows stagnant. When you hold too tightly, the flow of life halts. When you give, you participate in the endless cycle of abundance. Poverty never begins in the wallet, but in the consciousness of lack. A person may have many possessions, yet live in fear of loss and feel unworthy of having, and in that fear they are already poor. Another, with little material wealth, but with gratitude, trust, and a sense of sufficiency, is already rich. Prosperity is not how much you have, but how you feel about what you have. Fox taught that to restore the flow of prosperity, you must first clear the dams within the mind. The dam of fear If I give, I will lose. The dam of doubt, I do not deserve to have more. The dam of comparison, others are luckier than I am. Each of these is a statement of limitation, and like every statement, it becomes form in your experience. To restore flow, you must change your language. Do not say, I do not have enough money. Say, I am being provided with what I need for this stage. Do not say, I fear losing my job. Say, I am being guided to where I belong. Words are channels of energy. When you change your words, you change your frequency. The next step is order. Fox believed that disorder in your outer world reflects disorder in your inner mind, and vice versa. When you clean your drawer, organize your desk, or handle unfinished matters, you send a signal to the universe, I am ready to receive. Outer order opens the way for inner flow. Another pillar of prosperity is gratitude. Not a shallow thank you, but the awareness of supply moving through everything. When you drink water, thank the river. When you eat rice, thank the grain and the hands that grew it. When you work, thank the energy and the opportunity to give. Each moment of conscious gratitude strengthens the mental equivalent of abundance. And as the law of correspondence teaches, as within, so without. Fox also said, the more you give, the more you prove that supply is infinite. Giving, however, is not sacrifice or waste. It is cooperation with the flow. You give to keep the water clear, not to prove goodness. A kind word, a smile, a gift, or simply your calm presence, all are acts of giving. When you give with joy, you tell your subconscious, I live in plenty. And the subconscious, honest as a mirror, shapes life to match that belief. Remember, you cannot pull prosperity to you by force. You can only adjust yourself to its frequency. When your mind is ordered, grateful, and flowing, you automatically become a magnet for opportunities, ideas, and resources, not because you ask, but because you align. So I ask you now, which of the three channels of prosperity will you open today? Order, gratitude, or circulation? Choose one and take a small action right now. Organize a corner of your desk. Thank someone, or share something of value. Even a small stream finds its way to the sea. Prosperity is not something you must achieve. It is your natural state when you stop blocking the current. Thank you for being here, learning to live in the circulation of light rather than the fear of lack. Thank you for choosing to open your heart so that life may move through you more freely. The body is a faithful servant. In the journey of awakening, there is a loyal companion. We often forget the body. Emmet Fox said, the body is an obedient servant of the mind. The body is a faithful assistant that listens to every silent command you give. It never betrays you, it only obeys. If your mind sends messages of fear, the body trembles. If your mind sends commands of trust, the body relaxes and begins to heal itself. Most people treat their bodies like enemies, noticing them only when in pain, scolding them when tired, forcing them when they want change. But the body does not need to be conquered. It needs cooperation. It is not against you, it only reflects you. Like a truthful mirror, the body displays what the mind believes. Listen carefully to the subtle messages your body sends each day. Pain in the shoulders may be the weight of responsibility you have not released. Tightness in the chest may be fear of being hurt. Discomfort in the stomach may be resistance to something you do not want to accept. When you listen without judgment, you begin to see the body as a gentle teacher, always trying to help you face what you have been avoiding. Fox taught that you can speak to your body as you would to a trusted partner. Each morning, place your hand on your heart and say, thank you, my loyal friend. Today I trust you, and I will use you to express the highest life within me. This is not ritual, it is programming. It sends a message of love into every cell. When the body feels gratitude, it responds with vitality, just as a trusted helper works better when respected. The words you use about your body matter as much as what you eat. Every time you say, I am old, I am weak, I am always sick, you are giving orders to your cells. They record and obey. Fox said, speak to the body in the language of strength, not complaint. Change, I have back pain, into my back is learning to be flexible. Change, I am ill, into my body is adjusting to restore balance. When words change, signals change, and the body begins to align with a new pattern. To cooperate with the body also means to care for it as a companion, not as a tool. Eat with gratitude, sleep in calmness, move as an act of appreciation, not punishment. When you move with joy, every joint becomes an instrument, every breath a song. You will be surprised how quickly the body recovers, strengthens, and softens its response to stress. Another key is to refuse to identify with temporary conditions. If you are in pain, do not say, "I am sick." Say, "I am moving through healing." Because I am is the creative command. Do not attach it to illness. When you affirm your healthy nature, you send a new blueprint to the body. Fox also said, the body responds to environment. Your surroundings are also messages to your body. Choose spaces with light, air, and quiet. Every harmonious environment reinforces the command you send to your cells. Even tidying your living space is a way of saying to your body, I honor the life within me. The body does not demand perfection. It only asks for presence. When you eat, truly eat. When you breathe, truly breathe. When you rest, truly rest. The body does not need fear or guilt. It needs gentle awareness. And when you treat it with trust, you will witness something miraculous. It heals faster than any prayer. Remember, the body is not a burden you carry. It is the faithful partner of your soul's mission. If you respect it, it will carry you far. If you fight it, it will resist. But if you love it as a companion, it will become an instrument that sings the music of light. Now pause and ask yourself, what have I said to my body today? Have I sent it love or judgment? The answer lies in how you feel right now. And I thank you, the one who is listening, for still being here, walking the path of reconciliation with the sacred vessel your spirit chose to move through this life. Thank you for listening with your heart and for allowing your body to breathe, to live, and to simply be. Calling, daily discipline, and living unveiled. When you have learned to speak with the body and to cooperate with the soul, you begin to see that everything in life, from work and relationships to every breath, is an extension of consciousness. And it is through your daily actions that your true calling is revealed. Emmet Fox said, true vocation is not what you do for a living, but what you do with your living. Your calling is not hidden in a title or profession. It is in the way you bring your inner light into what you do. You may be a teacher, an artist, an office worker, or a homemaker. It does not matter. What matters is that you do it as a means of serving divine order with clarity of intention, excellence of spirit, and depth of gratitude. Fox described three elements that make work sacred: alignment, excellence, and service. When these three become one, your work becomes a moving prayer. Asterisk, asterisk, alignment, asterisk. Asterisk means listening to your inner direction. You do not act out of fear or gain, but from the knowing that this is where your soul wants to shine. The sign of alignment is a quiet peace within, even when the outer world is busy. When you work in alignment, time dissolves. You are no longer working, you are living meaning. Asterisk, asterisk. Excellence, asterisk. Asterisk is not perfectionism. It is giving your best in the present moment. Every small act is done as service to the divine. Sweeping a floor, writing an email, cooking a meal, or teaching a class, each can be a sacred ritual when done with full attention and love. Excellence is not to be praised, but to show that the light within you can make all things beautiful. Asterisk, asterisk, service, asterisk, asterisk, is the heart of true prosperity. When you act with the intent to bless others, your energy expands. You enter the current of giving and receiving. Fox said, the soul that serves never lacks. The serving soul never experiences shortage because it lives in the circulation of love. To keep these three elements alive, you need daily discipline. Fox called it the daily rule of practice, a simple rhythm that keeps you centered. It does not need to be complex, only 3 steps. 1, asterisk, asterisk, morning. Asterisk, asterisk. Choose the state of mind you want to carry through the day: peace, clarity, or gratitude. 2. Asterisk, asterisk, during the day. Asterisk, asterisk, return to center often before each meeting, each conversation. One mindful breath is enough to reconnect. 3. Asterisk, asterisk, evening. Asterisk, asterisk. Reflect without judgment. Learn from small mistakes, thank what has passed, and fall asleep in gratitude. Daily discipline is not a cage. It keeps the flow clear. It turns progress into natural rhythm. You no longer train the spirit by effort. You simply live in spirit. And when this becomes your rhythm, you enter what Fox called living unveiled. Living unveiled means living without disguise, without masks of fear or roles of pretense. You no longer need to prove or persuade anyone. Your light speaks for itself. You live simply but deeply. You speak little but truthfully. You do less but precisely. Every action, from the way you walk and meet another's eyes to the way you rest in silence, radiates the energy of presence. To live unveiled also means to be fully present. You no longer run from darkness or search for light outside yourself. You know the light you seek is already here, in this very breath. You stop waiting for someday, because you understand that someday is now. When you live this way, you become a living demonstration of what Emmet Fox taught. You no longer study the law. You are the law. You no longer seek God. You express God. And those around you, simply by being near, feel calmer, lighter, clearer, not because you preach, but because you are present. Before we close this journey, take a few seconds to pause, breathe deeply, feel the stream of light moving through your heart, your body, your awareness. Say quietly, I am living unveiled. I am bringing my light into the world. And if you are still listening now, write a simple line, I am ready to walk as light. Not for anyone else to see, but for you to affirm that the journey is complete and that your daily life is now your spiritual path. Thank you, the one who has walked patiently to the end of this road. Thank you for choosing to awaken, to live true, to love. And know that from this moment on, you no longer need to search for any door, for you are the door.